All right, for our lab on rolling friction, it says go back and look back at the acceleration lab, because everything that we need is going to come from this acceleration lab as far as the majority of the setup. And so if you forget, just go back and watch that movie again, or you can simply just remember as far as what you built. And so we have the ramp, and we have our paper. Now, I haven't remarked this paper. You might want to use new paper when you do this. It's not necessary, but the markings might confuse you later on. And then the very next thing it does is it goes right into the construction, and there's not really a whole lot of construction here, but use the ramp constructed in an experiment to acceleration and gravity. If you didn't save it, go back to that experiment to make another. Step 2. Fix opposite halves of Velcro to the front and the back of each car. Mark the cars 1 and 2 to tell them apart. Okay, now, I have 2 entirely different cars here. And so I know I'm going to call it silver and gold. And you don't really need to call them necessarily 1 and 2. It's just a way to separate the 2 cars. So if you buy 2 identical cars, you know. So we are going to affix, and on one side I've got the hooks, and on the other side I've got the loops. Velcro is made up of hook and loop, and so the fuzzy part is the loop. Okay, so now we've got fuzzy on one end, and we have got hook or spiky on the other end, so that way if we ever want to, say, do this to the cars, they'll stick together. All right, now for this next piece, you want to make sure that when you do that, you attach it. If you're going underneath the car, make sure that it sticks, because otherwise you're going to have a fairly shallow ramp and it could affect it. It says using a 500 gram digital scale, and so we're going to come back to this guy again, and that's what we're going to measure the mass of the cars with. And then using a measuring tape, measure the center of the car from front to back. It allows for the easier measurement of distance traveled and avoids curvature of the top of the car. Okay, the whole reason is if you flip it on its side, it's relatively flat. And so if we were to take our measuring tape and measure that, then we can tell the center of the car, and we can mark the center of the car. Okay, so now I've got the car centered and marked all up. And now we want to place one car at the top of the ramp and hold it there, and you have your stopwatch with you so that when you're ready to go, all you have to do is reach for it and bang, it's there. Now, this is a timing thing again, and we kind of found this in experiment number 2, that if you're not careful, you can double click this. Now, if you like this one, I'm doing this all on the same day, and so it's already kind of gotten worked in, but you kind of hear the double click there. Just be very, very careful of it. Okay, so now this is the entire setup. What I would recommend is that when you're doing this, have a shallow ramp. And I usually use a thin book, and then I'll move the book up and down the ramp to raise or lower the ramp according to its angle needed. One bad thing is you want to make sure if you do slide it up, and this might not be in the video, but as I'm sliding the book up my ramp to raise up my ramp, I'm getting a little gap underneath of it. Okay, you want to fill that gap with something, because otherwise the ramp is going to bend. And so you might want to try another piece of cardboard, or you have, for instance, I'm going to use, and you want to make sure you don't disturb it, but I use the thermometer casing. And so now I can take a car, set it on the ramp, and see how far it goes. And that's it. That's all you do for that one.